And here's the packet. Give Maxine the packet. Okay. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And I will call the roll. Sue Rich. Here. Stacy Butke.
Here.
Travis Neal. Online?
He covers him up.
I'm gonna ask them to put their.
Travis, you're on mute. There we go. Travis Neal?
I'm here, but I don't have a way to turn my mute on or my camera on.
Well, I'm hearing you, so we're fine. And Rob Huerman?
I am here.
Okay, and I'm here. Hi, Bill. Hi, Bill Hanson. Okay, we have a quorum. So, Rob, I know you've got some other responsibilities, so I think we're fine. If you want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise,
Thank you.
hope all goes well.
I'll drop off here in a minute. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I would like to call on Eric Marks, an Eagle Scout, he is going to give us his Eagle Scout project and give us an overview of it. So Eric, you've got the floor.
Awesome, thank you.
And
Yeah, I will.
let me do, I did not, Maxine Weil is here, Beverly Tucker Knight, and Patrick McGee, staff. So we'll get, Travis, are you able to see the presentation?
Little free library.
Yep, okay,
Yep.
great. Okay, wonderful. Okay, Eric, floor is yours.
Awesome, thank you. Well, my name's Eric. I'm a part of Troop 11. We're stationed at Temple Israel, and I'm a Life Scout currently working on my Eagle. And my project is a little free library. Next slide. Oh, wait. Oh, awesome. Okay, so basically my plan for my Eagle Scout project involves putting in an outdoor library or little free library, actually here at this building outside. And basically my kind of initiative is to promote like people to engage, community engagement, and just in an educational way for all ages. And just for donated books, people to swap in and out, filter out books, and just have fun in an educational manner.
Great.
And I am aware that the city has a post already that and I'm building the box that I will be assembling on the post and then installing it.
Okay, great.
So my project goal, so basically, like I said, with the initiative to promote community engagement, but also just to kind of there are a lot of people who do have a passion for reading, and it's good to facilitate that kind of, and it's in a fun way. And many kids are involved. You see little free libraries all around. They're at your guys' parks.
All right.
And yeah, so it's a great way to just filter out and interests and all that kind of stuff. So here are some images. Oh, wait. So those are just some example images. That's about what my design is going to look like. I decided not to have like a two roof just because I feel like it's more efficient to have a roof that's kind of one roof that's in a slant like that. It's just better for water and weather circumstances. So here are my.
This is the most important skill you're ever gonna get is mastering PowerPoint.
There we go. Okay, so these are my materials. I'm planning to use plywood just because it's better quality, it's more weather resistant, but basically consisting of all these, I have my dimensions set, and I do have a blueprint if you guys are interested in seeing.
Right.
But Beverly has my blueprints that I emailed out. But, yeah, and these are my materials and these are my tools. And, yeah, so my plan is to construct this with about 4 or 5 helpers and get this going. So, yeah, it's my project. Thank you so much.
And questions?
First of all, thank you.
Yeah.
That's not a question.
Yeah, thank you.
Nonetheless. Were we planning on using the post for any other reason, or is this,
It's a little free library post.
okay,
Okay,
so it was just waiting for
It
you?
was waiting for you, yes.
yes.
Awesome.
Rob, I see your hands up.
Yeah, also thank you for coming before the group this evening. Sounds like a great project. Wanted you to talk about maintenance and upkeep on the library after it goes in. What are your thoughts, plans about that?
So, I mean, I would drop in on it, I'm going to college next year, so I wouldn't be able to drop in on it insanely frequently, but when I'm in town, I could check it out, make sure everything is great. And, I mean, also, that's why I'm also planning to use the most weather resistant and weatherproof wood to kind of withstand, so it'll last longer. I've also had the design so that the roof goes past the edges of the Little Free Library so that water runs off it, because that's been, as Beverly told me, a lot of past Little Free Libraries have fallen apart because of that. So, but yeah, I could check on it frequently when I'm in town.
It's great. You got a great design, and I love the uniqueness of each little library. They all have their own identity, which is a really nice quality to them. So thank you, and sounds like you got a good one here.
Thank you.
One more question? I'm sorry, go ahead, Sue, you have the next one.
I was gonna say, we've had issues in the past with latches,
Yeah,
so how is that gonna,
latches.
yeah,
What exactly do you mean by
they
latches?
don't stay closed.
I am planning to put a magnet actually on the inner part of the door so that the wind doesn't, always keep it open, and it's just, yeah, I know that's a problem. I think it's on here. Okay. I did not have a magnet on there, sorry about that. But, yes, a little like, one of those door magnets are really good, so,
Yeah, that's been an ongoing battle with some of the
Yeah,
parts that
yeah.
they're always flying open.
put that in there.
And,
That's.
and you've coordinated with Beverly and Patrick on the color? Have
Color?
you coordinated on color?
We will, we haven't gotten it.
Okay, okay,
And we're gonna do a site walk for the actual location. We're not gonna put it up here in the front. We're gonna put it down towards the bike racks. So
okay.
that we can eventually have a bench next to it.
I'm also planning to put primer on it before I paint it because
Oh, yeah.
it'll all chip off if I just put paint, so.
And what is your time frame?
I'm planning to start at the beginning of February and hopefully have it done by mid to end of February.
Okay,
How did you choose all of that?
How did I choose Olivet? I don't know, it's just kind of, I mean, I've gone to Olivet Parks my whole life, so I thought it was just a good one, so I was like, I should do Olivet. And, Joel knows Beverly, so, he kind of put in a good word for Beverly, so I set in on that.
We appreciate
Great.
that.
Will you prime it with books, or how does that,
Yes,
has that worked in the past?
I mean, I'm planning to, after I built it, fill it with books.
Okay.
And have it go from there.
good, great. Are there other questions of Eric? If not, thank you so much.
Awesome,
We look
thank you.
forward to sharing with the library and,
I'm doing my fundraising through Lowe's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, okay.
okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. do I have to get your signature?
You do, yeah. I can sign it for you right now. Where did you go to school?
What?
Where do you go to school?
Ladue Horton Watkins.
What patrol are you in?
This?
Yes.
Oh, this is super old. This is from like 2016. I just kept it on there because we used to be allowed to have custom patches, but now we're not allowed to anymore, so I kept this on for memory.
Just a little advising for you. When you're the group like us, don't say really old from 2016. Not if you're asking for something, that's not a good way to go.
Thank you.
Thank you
But it's a
very
full
much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Awesome.
And thank you to your leader and,
Appreciate it.
and if there's anything that we can help with, let us know.
I do have one question more in terms of putting the post in. I also have to get the concrete in. When should I coordinate with you about that?
When you're ready, when it's built and ready, then you just coordinate with me and need a couple days notice and the park crew's gonna dig.
Dig the hole,
post
okay.
hole For Eric, because the ground's gonna be really hard,
Mhm.
even without it being, so,
Oh.
and they'll help you with the concrete.
So after I build it, I should come and help out with concrete as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do it at the same time, so we'll dig the hole, put the concrete and the post in,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then, when we do our sidewalk, we can talk a little more.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, great, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, next order of business,
No, it's cold out there.
yeah.
Yeah, I grew out of my.
It goes-
So I had to go
It
with
goes
what I
with the
could.
age thing. Yeah, that goes with the age thing too. Um, are there any written communications?
There are none.
Okay, hearing from citizens, I see no other citizens in the room, so we will move on.
Anyone online? Probably not.
Are there any online? We have Travis and Rob online.
Yeah, they're panelists.
Okay, I think Rob's dropped off. He did. Okay, but we still have a quorum. So I will, we need to review the minutes. Are there any updates, corrections that anyone has for that, has for the minutes? I noticed one thing. We've got Bill both present and absent.
You know what? I saw that.
So we've.
I'm like Schrader's cat.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out how he could do a motion, and be absent at the same time.
I will.
So,
Take that.
so actually, my wife would say that sometimes I'm absent when I'm here, so. And then also, on the, under the director's report, it's Barbara Sontag. Under section 5. So, other than that, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the December 2023 Parks and Recreation
Do
Committee?
we need to make a motion to approve them with those two changes?
Yeah,
Okay, I want to make sure, okay.
It would be a motion to approve as amended.
Can I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended from the December 20th, 2023 meeting?
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, opposed, and they are approved. Okay, we will move on to the director's report.
You guys still see the screen, Travis?
Yeah, I pulled it up on my other computer too, so I could see it better.
Gotcha. All right, so we're gonna kind of just go through some of the stuff that we had going on in December. We're gonna start with the rec division update. We had two big events, Kids Night Out, which is, of course, takes place in the evening. And we had, that took place on December 22nd. That's why a lot of kids were out on Christmas break, on the holiday break, and we had Break for Kids come in and they played with Legos, kind of had, parents drop their kids off, and that was a very well attended event. The same thing goes for Kids Day In, which was on the 3rd, again, still over the break. It was basically one day of summer camp. Parents could drop their kids off, great time for them to kind of get a little break when their kids were at home and drop them off here, and they got to have a lot of fun doing crafts and playing in the gym and, doing a lot of things that with their friends. So It was, like I said, they were both very well attended. We also had our winter break camp that started, December 26th through the 29th. We worked with the contractor, oh my gosh, Josh, and, he's with Circus Kaput. They did a bunch of, circus activities, and then they actually did a show at the end of the week for parents, and grandparents that came up and watched. So it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people were, yeah, that picture is,
How was attendance at the camp?
It was full. Yeah, and the parents on the last day after the performance, all the parents said, well, this is coming back in spring, isn't it? We had another camp planned, so Josh said he would do another camp, so now we're offering 2 camps for spring.
And
Yeah, so-
you've got room to do that.
Now we have room to do it, we did.
Right.
That's awesome.
and they basically used half of the, court, so we were still able to utilize some of the other areas. But when we set up the chairs out there for the show, it was kind of cool, because people walking down the hall could actually, watch it as well. Our youth basketball league actually started, this past weekend. We've obviously, grown a little bit more from where we did last year, due to the partnership with the new school district. Depending on weather and no cancellations, that league should be ending somewhere, towards the beginning of March, end of February. It just depends on if we have any cancellations, but, all those games will take place in the, Ladue school gyms unless we do get some cancellations. We may kind of pivot and have some games here if we have to, so. We have also been very busy in the indoor playground. We've been lucky enough to have been shared across social media by, mom groups on Instagram, and they've kind of taken off. We were nominated as one of the kind of new playgrounds to go visit, so it's things that are being done, by groups other than us to promote our own playground. We've had a insanely busy winter break. We had some events planned in there, some crafts planned in there, and certainly have made the most out of the social media post and had people coming in almost every day to come and visit the playground. So it's incredible, and TJ, who supervises that area, has done a great job putting together not just the programs, but also, the activities, the equipment that we have in there. And she's always thinking of, new ways to kind of incorporate things in there. We'll be doing some other things. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet on it, but we got some other things planned for the playground in later in January and early February. So.
Now, as many of those moms and kids are coming in, do we charge fees for that or not?
Correct. So.
And is anybody pushing back on that?
Yeah, so we've had, one of the things that, we've clarified with people is who should pay. Should a parent who's never gonna do anything other than supervise a child in there, or should they pay and their kid pay? So we've clarified that and put that out, so the parents understood, what the rate they would have to pay when they came in. So we have had some.
So what is it? So what was it and what is it?
So it is anybody under the age of 2, they can go in there for free as long as there is a paying chaperone, parent or guardian with them. So the parent would pay. If it's a kid older than 2, 3 or up, they will pay for the child to get in, the parent will not have to pay.
And the fee is?
It is between, depending on,
Depending on the type of activities, we have a fee breakdown in the activity guide. So if you are coming in for one of the play sessions, it's free if you're a member. If you're not a member, it's $3 per resident and $5 for general. And then for the structured times, like the top time, if you're a member, again, it's free. So there's a breakdown in the activity guide, and we have it on the website.
And so basically, someone's paying.
Yeah.
Someone's paying.
yeah,
So
They're
it's
either
either
a
the
member or
kid,
they're paying an extra fee.
so it's either the kid or the adult.
Correct.
So there's one fee, not 2 fees.
correct.
Yes,
Because, that was one of the things.
Because
that
the
they're-
thing on social media is confusing.
Yeah,
People have been posting stuff and I'm like,
yeah, and sometimes
don't
we
quite
can't
get it.
control the message when someone else posts it, but But the mom influencers that have done the big drives, they've had accurate information that we,
Yeah.
which is.
But I've seen some other crazy stuff.
That's the nature of social
Typical,
media.
What do they
exactly.
say? Lies spread quicker than truth, right?
Well, that's why if you say it
Yeah.
out here, maybe people will actually
Yeah.
listen to this meeting and
Yeah, so that was one of the things
get the
that,
real number.
you know, that we noticed pretty quickly and made some changes and made sure to get that out to our staff so that they were charging the correct rate and, you know, done a really good job.
But if the family's a member, it's free.
Yep.
And what are you seeing the mix, not specific numbers, but the mix between residents and non-residents and members and non-members you
We
see?
can go into detail on that when Pat does his.
Okay, so
Staff report.
that's part of this.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
part of it. For the indoor playground, we are, especially during break, we saw families, a lot of families from Chesterfield, Wentzville, even, a lot of families came in,
Wow.
particularly after those immediate. So these mom influencers are powerful group. We were very surprised, but also it's new and it was Arctic, so they were very happy that.
Right.
And so then a lot of families from out of state came because they were staying with their in-laws in Olivet or doing work, you know, so that was nice too.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we certainly pushed the envelope on how many people, you know, could be in there and, you know, it was really great. I mean,
And, yeah, and I think you were here on one of the busy days, right?
Oh, every day was a busy day.
yeah, it really was.
Crazy time. Yeah,
And-
mean-
and do we have a limit?
Mid-morning,
Yeah,
it was
found
the
it.
place to be.
yeah, it really was. Before, and then there's a little lull at nap time, but then we also, at nighttime, we have a lot of families in there in the evenings too, which is surprising.
I don't think I came up here when there wasn't someone in there.
Yeah. It is pretty interesting to see, and I think we're starting to be able to quantify some of that, you know, when the times that we're busy and when the time that, you know, we have some lulls.
And they seem, am I correct? They seem to have impromptu group meetings. Like,
There's a
like they
play
were
group.
coming in groups,
Yeah, they
right?
are. There's a lot of playgroups and we see that in the parks as well. They do meetups. And so some of the social media groups, they're mom meetup groups. And so they'll say, hey, today we're meeting at Earthside and everybody goes to Earthside.
Is there anything they're gonna, I noticed there's a bottleneck in signing in when they all come at once. Is there anything we're doing
Yeah,
to
There is,
mitigate
but
that?
it'd probably be better for us to talk about that
Okay.
under the 5
Okay,
section.
okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
that's the other
Absolutely
thing.
right. Yeah.
What's going on?
We've got several things happening on that.
So when you talked about the media, there's this article in St. Louis Magazine.
Yeah.
I don't know if people saw that. It's 17 toddler-friendly playrooms in the St. Louis metro area. And we were.
Different before.
Yeah, I think I've emailed that out to the group too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, go.
That was also reposted by the city's page as well on social media.
Very nice.
Kind of just a little feather in our cap too.
Yeah.
So.
Great.
When we met last time, and I forgot what it was called, but like after Christmas, there was gonna be like a toy put together day.
The toy tryout,
Yes, how did that go?
it didn't.
It didn't, okay. Well, then let's pretend I didn't bring it up and
Yes.
keep moving on.
I'll just rewind a little bit. Yeah, I think it was kind of a result of, you know, I think we probably need to do a little more promotion with it.
Mhm.
And I think we also kind of in the back of our minds, like it was one of those ideas we had, but you realize that, you know, a parent doesn't want to load something up that they already got, put in their car, bring in here, and then put it together. So I think we're gonna try to find some ways to just make it where kids can just have their toys that they can't play with outside because it's too cold to play in here. So
Yeah.
we're gonna try to reinvent it for next year.
Ride bicycles down the.
Yeah.
Yeah, or their electronic cars instead of the off-school.
Yeah,
courses.
Power Wheels,
Right.
yeah. So moving on, unless anybody else has any other questions.
Hey. Yeah, quick question on the basketball. I was just curious if you had like total enrollment for basketball.
Yeah, so we have over 400 individual registrations, and then we also have I'm trying to remember how many non-resident team registrations we had. I don't believe we had a ton. I want to say it was probably around 20 non-resident teams that we have that are in here as well.
How many?
Oh, that's great.
So that'll be probably about 10 kids on each team. So 400 kids, probably
40.
yeah, quite a few teams.
What's that compared to years prior? Like what's the uplift from this partnership with Ladue Schools? Is it 20-25%? Is it 80%?
I think it's 20%.
Yeah, I would say between 20 to 30% increase.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that we are looking at doing is really trying to push, offering some of the older grades if we can. And we're gonna do that by partnering a little bit with some of the other municipalities so that we can actually, you can still register through us. Your games may not be in Ladue School District, they may be, at other, but we're trying to embrace this more than just the elementary school age. We're trying to bring in, some of those older kids, because basically we find that after third grade, basically everybody just kind of moves on. So we're trying to find a way to capture them and have them participate in our league, or participate, at least register through with us and find a way for them to play, whether it be partnering with another municipality, but give them a way that they can register here and not have to worry about going in to find another league somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a creative idea. When you say that, you're talking about like partnering with like a Clayton, or for example, and having like hey, we're going to combine forces here for 7th, 8th grade kind of kids, right? I'm following you on that.
Yep, our struggle is pretty much universal, right? We get a lot of kids that once they get to 5th and 6th grade, they're either gonna, if they're serious about basketball, they may go and play in like this a different league.
Sure.
But there is still, a smaller amount of people, but that can actually fill a team, and Clayton gets some, we get some, and basically what we could do is, have a shared schedule for those. And we've done that in soccer, we've done that in other sports with Clayton as well. So it's just kind of expanding that and finding ways to take the registrations as long as they have a team and find a way for them to play.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thanks for the added info there.
You are welcome. Moving on to personnel updates, one of the things that has kind of come out of us having a lot of part-time staff as fitness attendants, working the front desk and playground attendants, is that now that we have a process in place that we can actually start to bring our officials, youth officials in under, be actually city employees. There's a couple reasons that's great. When they're independent contractors, we weren't able to really train with them. We basically, would come in and, we would look at their qualifications and then they would officiate. Now we're actually able to hold trainings with all our officials. We can, get them uniforms, we can do a lot more. We have a little more control over how many people, we have to hire because, they're on staff. And it also just kind of makes it feel a little more kind of our own brand, that we'll have our own staff out there. And it just, we're really looking forward to being able to do that for all youth sports in the future and help train our staff a little better. So.
Now, were there any ordinance changes that needed to be done from that, or was that just a planning?
It's purely IRS and federal government requirements. So we have to treat independent contractors differently than employees.
Right.
And so in the past, we used to have adults that were independent contract referees that were very well versed. And as it's been harder and harder nationwide, harder and harder to have people that will take on the role of referees, we've gone to younger people. So now we really need to have an opportunity to actually train them and develop their skills and have them be, it's hard to put a child out, some high school kids, and they are just a little bit older, and then they've got adults yelling at them. So it's really good that when we can give them a solid base. So by having them on payroll now, we can train them and not run afoul of hiring practices.
And that was one of the things that our survey that we sent out for soccer, we do get a lot of, like in any sport, you get complaints, about youth officials. Now we can address those on a little more of a granular level. We can, make sure to find out what happened, have a coordinator out there watching those games, and then we can coach them up while they're out there officiating as well. So there's a lot more things that we can do to address those things in the moment, as opposed to sending a survey and finding out that we had a bad rep for an extended period of time, and maybe, it wasn't caught by coordinators. So it is a great thing, like Beverly had said, the reason that we're doing this now is we do have the process, but also to do it in January is kind of when we need to switch from a contractor to an employee, because if we did it later, we wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to be a contractor and an employee,
In the
you know,
same
in
year.
the same year, so that's why we're doing that.
Okay, and that's been done.
Yes,
Okay.
so everybody that worked this weekend is on it.
Okay.
So was there any material cost impacts for switching from the contractors to pay or insurance or anything like that?
We pay a little bit more, you know, because now we're paying all the back end costs of staffing,
Mhm.
but. You know, I think it's okay. They were already getting a high rate.
Okay.
Because to entice people, we pay pretty well. It's a pretty good, rate for these kids. They get paid more than recreation leaders.
Thank you.
Gonna move on to the Parks Division update. This is probably one of the things I'm, most excited about. I know that our staff is, when the Park Ops building, when the old rec center was shut down, they became the storing area for everything that was taken out of the old community center. And they were the holding place for that for multiple years until this place opened. Then we took some of that stuff over and then we realized, oh, that doesn't match. So they basically had all this stuff in there and it really cluttered up their new op center, operation up there. So what we wanted to do is really try to organize it. So it was making simple jobs incredibly difficult because you were trying to find stuff and it was hard to find. Thanks to Ed, Cody, Merle, and Brian, we have done a massive amount of work that will pay off in dividends with organization, have good working spaces to work on, projects, and easy, accessible tool storage is a fantastic thing. They have so much more room to not only store stuff, but to actually see the things they need on a daily basis. It's just great. We found that duplicates of tools and, things like that we were able to keep together and basically kind of give us a better starting point for every single project. They did a fantastic job and, I look forward to seeing how that grows and kind of changes over time. But right now, it is a beautiful place to be. They enjoy going up there and knowing where everything is. So took a lot of time, but we had some great weather for them to do that too.
This is amazing.
It is amazing. So for those of you that may not know, before we had this park operations building that we built as part of the bond, the parks crew operated out of an old residential house in Morrison Park that should have been condemned. It did not have running water. It did not have restrooms. It was horrible. They couldn't get their vehicles inside. They couldn't find anything. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was a house that was donated to the city and a series of employees lived in it over time, over 30 or 40 years. So it was one of our priorities so that they could have adequate workspace to really do the jobs that they need to do and repair things, have their vehicles inside, and they can now wash the trucks after so this weekend, with all the salt spreading and everything, they've never had a facility to wash their vehicles. So it's really going to tremendously change their work environment. And for those of you who worked in a place, if you don't have a nice place, what's your morale like? You don't really have a motivation to do a good job. So we've been incredibly lucky with the personnel we've had, and they've done a great job in subpar conditions. So now I'm just thrilled that they have a really nice place that has heating and a beautiful restroom. Restroom's so nice that Public Works comes and uses it now. So it's a big deal for them. And I think that a lot of times, Public Works and Parks employees are ignored. And I think a lot of the people don't see them. They see firefighters, they see police officers, but no one really sees all the hard work that they're doing. And they're out there in the storms, in the rain, and in the terrible humidity, and they don't get to stay in their trucks. So it is, they are unsung heroes for sure. So I think this really brings a lot of dignity to their work environment.
And it would be nice when the days get longer, that we might we might be able to tour that at some point.
Yes, yes. And beforehand, it was not ready for prime
No,
time.
no, I
Yeah.
understand. I understand,
And
but
now we get to tackle the outside.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
that's the big,
Yeah,
the big thing is that getting the inside is ready is fantastic, but our neck, we're not stopping there. We want to get.
yeah,
One of the things that we plan to do, there are things that we will be, that are surplus items that, that we no longer use, don't have a plan for them. And rather than hang on to them or throw them in a landfill, some of these things do have value. They just don't have value to us or, a use for us. So those things, we'll be compiling those and putting them on a government surplus site called GovDeals. That's where a lot of the municipalities use to sell, whether it's old vehicles, old equipment, and other cities, really do buy this stuff and utilize it. So it's a great place to get, to at least get some, monetary value back for these items that we otherwise would have just thrown away. So keeping something out of a landfill and hopefully open up another city. And that goes for all over the country. People will drive from everywhere to pick stuff up off of GovDeals. So the other thing that we wanted to highlight was the Ranger, the Polaris Ranger, which is pictured here. You can see on the back side here, that is the salt spreader. And on the front side, it also had the plow. Was purchased over the summer, and the purpose of this will be to clear paths in the park areas. It'll also help kind of address those areas around here, around Five Oaks, and also to really help keep paths clean, because we couldn't bring those giant plows on a path. This is designed to clear the path. It also has a V plow on it, which can kind of, we can adjust the width of it so that we can cover paths, and we'll be using this for areas in and around the parks as well as around Five Oaks as well. So it is a great way for them to go do this stuff and have a heat inside of the cab too. So this will is a welcome addition, and we're glad we got a little snow to try it out. So it's worked great, and we're excited to have that vehicle because it is a great thing to have to do some of our jobs in the region.
yeah. So they tested it out yesterday. In the past, the city's never cleared any pathways in any parks. We actually have signs up in some of the parks, they're still there, that say that we don't maintain the pathways in inclement weather. But we do clear the path to the restrooms at Stacy. So with a vehicle like this, we are going to be doing some experimentation of clearing some of the pathways. And the reason there's certain areas we want to clear is that even though we don't put out salt or anything, the snow packs up, it builds up, and there's in particular areas at Stacy, but our residents are still out there using the parks. And what happens is there's either areas where they'll go through or areas they'll avoid, and then they end up trampling and destroying grass and other planting areas because they still want to walk even though the weather isn't great or the trail isn't cleared. So rather than continue that policy of not clearing the trails, we are going to do targeted areas of clearing to kind of help get people to stay on the path and to eliminate some of the slipperiness. We are not ready to publicize that widely yet. We're targeting certain areas and we're experimenting, because the other thing we have to be careful of is with the V plow, learning how to use it, because the grass out there, if we hit it with the plow, we hit the grass, it'll peel the grass up, and then we'll end up with an even muddier mess and then no grass and no seeds. So there's a balance we're trying to find, and the guys are going to be experimenting. And they are cautious too, because no one wants to be the one that ruins the new $70,000 vehicle. So we're learning. They're experimenting and testing, and then hopefully we'll get a really good route and be able to post it. This is our sort of like when they say this is your winter driving route in certain areas. We'll say we're going to plow this. Hopefully we can say this is our winter walking route and be able to actually commit to keeping something clear. The other thing that the parks crew do is any city-owned sidewalk, they clear. So all the sidewalks here, all the sidewalks in front of the city center, in front of all the parks, they have to go out and clear. And in the past, they did it by hand. And then this last time the snow was, they were able to use the leaf blowers for some of it, and then they use this for a little bit. So so they're figuring out how to use that too, because we have a lot of sidewalk that we have to clear.
we need to have a change in signage, when we are plowing, saying, you know, that there's, you know, walk at your own risk, or do we already have those up?
We have some of those are up. When we redid the parks, we took down a lot of those signs, so it is not required to have that sign. But eventually we may put more signs up, but we really want to figure out what we're doing before we do that.
Now, are we responsible for, I mean, granted, the greenway doesn't go through all the way now.
Well, we will be
When that
responsible for
happens-
the greenway. The greenway does not clear the greenways. So the greenways do not require that they be open, but we are thinking that again, the greenway's probably gonna get a lot of use and it's used for commuters. So one of the reasons we thought about a vehicle like this is it will work very well on the greenways because those are 12-foot wide
Right, okay.
sidewalks. So the other thing we're doing is we're experimenting out here with a pre-treatment on the ground and then granules of beet juice instead of salt. Because in the parks, when we do use salt, we kill the grass. And then, like at Stacy, you'll notice around the restrooms, there is no grass for a while, and that is because of the salt applications over the years. So we're experimenting with the beet granules here and the pre-treatment. If it does really well, then we are gonna expand to using it in the parks as well.
Okay.
But
Continue.
is there a big cost differential of doing that over salt?
Not particularly, what do you think? Not really.
It's also a difference in how, like, the good thing about using like the beet juice and the granular is that it has a
Lower freezing.
lower freezing point. Thank you. I was trying to think of that exact phrasing. So it actually does lower better than salt, so you have to put less of it down. So that is one of the benefits. So that kind of cost difference is kind of, you know,
Wash.
not much.
Bruce has looked at it for the roads. For him, with the amount of salt he has in his salt dome, it's a different animal. And he would have to get completely different equipment and different mixing tanks. So it isn't economically feasible for the roadways yet, but there are areas in the US and Canada that do use it on their roads.
I
Yeah,
think
I
Clayton
know.
does now. I saw something this last week that Clayton's using.
Some of the municipalities were using it.
Mhm.
Yeah, apparently it's really big in Indiana and some other places.
Well, Chicago,
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
one too.
And then in other places, you know, they use grit instead and sand, and we don't do that either, but that's something we looked at, that it was harder for us to get and much harder, it's much heavier, so the beets, we were very excited to find them, so it's so far so good. It seems to be working well.
So,
Especially out in the area in front of Five Oaks where we have plants literally right there on the other side of the sidewalk. So using that there and not having salt, you know, kill those
Yeah. and
flowers.
that's- Yeah,
that's-
exactly.
Flowers and plants, that's a big deal for
Yeah,
us.
big deal for us, and that's one reason we have so many sedges out there, is that some of those sedges are salt resistant. But our parking lot is still rock salt.
yeah, I saw a
Because
lot of salt.
There's- Yeah, they used, as Bruce described, they used as much salt out there for this tiny snow as they would for 10 inches because you know, rock salt's just not efficient at low temperature. They had to really put out a lot more. And
To dry.
I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking because that is a lot of salt and then it just goes into our riverways and, you know,
Et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, it's heartbreaking, but it was necessary because it was so dangerous out there.
Yeah,
So,
but they did a great job out there, you know, in front of the building and the parking lot and, you know, very grateful that they did what they did, so. Moving on to upcoming events, January and February, you know, still have a full head of steam with different events that go on, all the way into March, so we have a full, schedule of not only special events, but also programs that are starting, you know, different departments doing different things, and, you know, we're excited about all these, we're doing Kids Night Out again, we're doing the Sweet Read, which has been very well attended, Weed Warriors, the art gallery opening, for those of you that didn't, get to see, we also have, new art up in the hallways, which, we had the opening, what was that, about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So, and so we have some new art out there, so if you get a chance to check that out, in the hallway, it is really beautiful stuff, so.
and I will say that it was well attended.
Yeah, it was good.
Yep.
And it was a snowy night, so. we
Yeah,
were
I
a little
was,
worried.
yeah.
Yeah. Someone who grew up on Engel was there. And I can't remember, he was going to see his parents when he went to.
Yeah, there's-
Just a quick update, we had a TV series filmed at Stacy Park. And I'm blanking on the name, it was one of those murder reality shows. But it's called, they did B-roll, which means it's background filming for a larger program. But I wanted to let you know that because we do have a policy that we do, and we charge a fee for that. So they pay the special event fee and they give us certificate of insurance, and then we have requirements that they then list Stacy Park in the credits. And if they're doing anything with vehicles or, you know, a gun or a death scene or anything like that, they have to get prior approval so that, and we get the police department out there, but we didn't have to do that for this. So, this was post-murder. So, for a minute, we thought it was the series that's being filmed here about the young man, the young man who was burned, and William H. Macy's here in the production filming that. We thought it was that, but it was not. So anyway, so I thought that was a good FYI for you guys.
Yeah, so a lot of events are kind of going back to the well, and events that have been really successful for us, but we also have done some new events as well, and continuing to do the ones that are successful and trying out new ones as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for Patrick? We'll move on to the next order of business, city council report. What's going on, Maxine?
Tomorrow night is if people haven't seen, the draft is completed. The comprehensive plan was not completed. Tomorrow night is a public hearing, and there was once again, social media that we can, and it's on our website, we can download the short version to read, which will take you about 5 to 10 minutes, and this one, which will take you, they say an hour, but I'm well into it, and it's been over an hour. But tomorrow night is a public hearing where people can come, make comments. There's even a place online that you can make comments. And then, again, in 2 weeks, they'll have the second public hearing, and then they'll be set to present the final and adopt it. So it's the input from the community has been overwhelming. I mean, people come out with the surveys. Everyone in Olivet has really embraced it. And it's very different than the one that we did 20 years ago. So it's kind of fun today when I look at it to see 2024-2044. It's kind of like, it's like, wow. But it's exciting. And we had talked with the mayor last week, and we did something new this year that I'm hoping will become a tradition. I had the city council join me and talk about the highlights of the past year. So it's interesting in the comments at the end, when people did it, I had people say, like, tell a little bit about your hobbies or what you do in your pastime. And it's so interesting that people really enjoyed learning more about it, not just, why are you running for office or what do you do, but, people shared what they like to do and not your platform statements or seeing us up working on the dais. But, so that worked out really nice. And, I had hoped to do it in December, and then I was sick, and so we did it at the beginning of January. So I think that it will become a yearly tradition. We talked about that with the new city manager and the chairman pro tem, that, to do it in December or January each year is a nice, addition. We, also had a workshop last week, where we went over our goals that we set up from our October retreat, but then they got, the consultant we used at the retreat and the consultant we're using on the comprehensive plan is one and the same, so we gave her some leeway. So, we'll be adopting that at our meeting, probably next week. And, we also have, I know everyone's heard about Aldi's. It should be in the Business Journal later this week or early next week. And we're just moving forward with some of the, things on Olive, and hopefully we can keep some of these projects moving forward even with the cold weather. So, are there any questions?
Hey, Maxine, what did you say? Was it going to be in the Business Journal?
The announcement about Aldi's.
Oh, okay. And then question about the survey. And
Yes.
I was actually meaning to come by and just ask you this, but what was the participation on that? Like, do you guys have data on how many residents actually filled out that survey?
Well, there are multiple surveys, and I think that that's some of the information they'll be going over tomorrow night. But
Yeah.
that is in the report.
Oh,
So
okay. I could check that.
you can look on the report, or I can talk with you offline and get you that information. I don't have that memorized yet, but when we did the survey, when we realized that which quadrants we hadn't heard from, or like which group of people within Olivet, we did some focus groups as well.
Oh,
So we really we got to the renters, and we got to different ethnicities or cultures in Olivet where they might have need someone to help, ask the questions in a different framework so that they could understand where we were coming from and what we're looking for. And I think that, the previous comprehensive plan really was about building. Now we're looking, this is more reflective and inward, what we want for our community. And so I think it's really very different than the one that we've worked on the last 20 years. And I think that people will be really interested in it because it's moving our community forward in a whole different way.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, one thing with that is, as we finish up the comprehensive plan, we will have a parks check-in moving forward, and so we'll hear more about that in future meetings, but the planning process continues.
Yeah, because we'll be coming up on the end of our 10-year plan,
Yeah, so
which is hard to believe.
any other questions for Maxine? So let's move on to policy use updates. Is that gonna be Patrick? I know we've talked about some of this stuff in the past.
So Patrick brought a report in October that gave an overview of the pavilions for the year and what we charge and what the stats were. And he shared some of the challenges we've had since Stacy was renovated and the difficulty we've had with enforcing our policies on the weekend and the impact on staff and keeping a clean pavilion that's well maintained and not damaged by its use. So after that meeting, we committed to come back to you in the new year with our proposed changes. So the pavilions are governed by ordinance, by city ordinance, so the rates. So we'll give you a presentation tonight on our recommended changes. If you approve them, then we will take them on to the city council for them passing them and codifying them in the city ordinance.
But this is not in our packet, that's only on the screen.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So as Beverly talked about, this is kind of just our current overview of what we do today. So we have our 4 pavilions in the park, Stacy, that's open year round. We have 200 people for a maximum for the pavilion. We have 150, over 150 people require the deposit, and we have special event permits available for those. Those are things like fountain houses or a food truck, things like that, that we, may affect the actual, surrounding space around the pavilion. So we have special event permits that we have them fill out as well. Earthside has a little bit of a smaller window, April to November, 100 people max, and no special event permits, mainly just due to the size that we would hold out there. Villa is 50 people max, again, smaller window and no special event permits. We don't want large events in those, in Villa in particular. Indian Meadows, it's not reservable currently. We have some construction in 2024, but it typically had the ability to hold 50 people. And again, no special event permits out there due to the surrounding neighborhoods. So our current fee schedule, this is what things are today. At Villa, we do a half day for residents and non-residents, and we do the same thing for full day. Earthside and Stacy Park. So these all have the ability to have half days or full days. We have a large group fee for anybody that's over 150 people at Stacy Park, which I talked about a little earlier. And we have a $150 refundable deposit, for groups over 150 people, and that's only again at Stacy. And then the special event fee is only at Stacy Park. So obviously, kind of a lot of stuff that is just applicable to Stacy Park. One of the things that kind of does is cause a little bit of confusion for people. So if you rent half day, it's from 9 to 2 or 3 to dusk, depending on if you want an AM or PM. And a full day is start at the beginning and it ends at dusk, which is typically around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So one of the recommendations, and this is based just on what a lot of different pavilions do around the area. One of the things, again, that we were experiencing is that we were having to turn over a rental in the middle of a Saturday or Sunday, or sometimes both. And that is one full-time person trying to shuffle a group out before we get a new group in. What inevitably wound up happening is that first group, if they stuck around for a little, then now we are trying to clean up the space as another renter is coming in. And these sometimes aren't just a birthday party for a kid, it is a wedding, it is an event, you know, that is very special to somebody. And when these events are going on and, you know, we got our park staff out there scrubbing bathrooms, it reflects bad on us. Part of it, you know, we were able to eliminate some of those things by really communicating those with renters, but you know, sometimes the people who had booked the rental have left. But the people that are remaining are the people who are guests at that party. So it is very tough for us to regulate it and to actually, you know, keep deposits from people when the actual people who booked it aren't there any longer. So one of the big recommendations that we have is to go to a full day use only. There's a couple of reasons that we want to do that, like I listed before, but also, you know, then you book it, you have that all day. Do you have to get there at 9 AM? No, you can get there later in the day. We will clean it. We will have it ready for that rental by 9 AM every Saturday and every Sunday. And we will make sure that that is perfect for them when they have that rental, whenever they start. So it also keeps our park staff from not having to come in early before the rental to clean up, come back again after that first rental and get ready for the second one. It enables us to, you know, have that rental for the day, make sure that we have ample trash cans, ample supplies for that pavilion for the day. And we were turning away a lot of people who wanted a full day, but they couldn't because we had a 9 AM rental that day. So we were turning away people who wanted to rent Stacy Park for a full day because we had one rental. And if we didn't fill that rental in the evening, then we obviously lost out on rental revenue for Stacy that day. So we've got a lot of people that we just had to, you know, tell that they couldn't rent here because they didn't have a full day and they wanted to have a little bit longer of an event. So this is what our recommendation is, to go to more a full day. We still have half day available during the week, you know, where we can do that during the week, but on the weekends to go to this model, I think we were going to get a lot more rentals and we're in turn also some more revenue. And also I think we'll make for a better space when we're not out there, you know, with our hand on our watch, telling people they need to leave. I think it just makes for a confrontational thing that our park staff is dealing with. And, you know, we want this to be an enjoyable space for them. Yes.
So how are we gonna prevent people from showing up and using it prior?
So good question. A lot of it that we've seen that a lot of other parks use is they display that there is a rental there. So we are going to do some signage that says.
What we do already. We do this already. Yeah, we have signs up. We typically don't have a problem with people poaching. And the other pavilions still have 2 users in there and we'll still continue to support that. But since they're smaller crowds, it's much easier for the parks crew to get in and service in between them. So we have, you've probably seen them up there, those plastic frames, and we put up who's reserved it and the number of people that are coming. The other thing that this helps us with is when we charge that damage deposit, it's a he said, she said, who created the damage. So when you have 2 different groups in there, each group thinks says, of course, the other group did it. But by having one user and maintaining it. And the other factor we're looking at here is requiring a security deposit for every weekend rental. Because the big rentals really do go to Stacy. People really want it because it's big, it's new, and it really accommodates a large group really well.
That's a great point, about the, he said, she said about the AM rental and the PM rental, it makes sense to just have that one rental, and I mean, it is a lot of work to get that building flipped over for another rental, if they are not there on time, and it's a lot of work for one person, yet alone, to do that every Saturday and every Sunday from the second it gets warm out to the second it gets cold out, and potentially even longer than that as well, so, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer for us to do this for logistical reasons, but also I think it makes things a little less confusing for Stacy in particular about these special event usages and, all these different add-ons. It basically said, this is it, this is our non-resident rate, this is our resident rate, and that's the rate you pay to rent that for the whole day. You can come in earlier, you can, as long as you're out of there at dusk. You have 9 AM to dusk, to do whatever you'd like in there, as long as it's within our policy and procedures.
Another difference at Stacy that you probably remember from October is that to reserve Stacy, you have to do it here in person. We don't allow it online. Villa and Riverside, you can reserve online, but Stacy, you absolutely have to communicate with us. And that is because it's always been a little bit of a problem as far as compliance and people knowing exactly what they can and can't do. So I think this is just another tool for us to ensure that our policies are maintained, because this is a beautiful pavilion and we want to keep it and maintain it well.
Yeah, and it was also very hard to, when you had somebody who come in who wanted to rent for a half day, and they would say they would have this number of people. And then we would get to that day of the event and they would have double, triple, you know what I mean? We would have numerous times where we would have that, and we're having a one-day rental, that's yours, we've already charged our fee for you, for up to, 250 people. So now we're not out there, counting to see how many people, there's all kinds of different things. This basically helps us in a variety of manners as well.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So. First of all, Indian Meadow, I was under the impression for 2024 that we're not continuing to use it.
We're not.
So
We
should
have
it-
that, we have that on the sign that we're not, but it's still listed in the code.
So, okay,
So,
but should there be like an asterisk next to it so that
well,
people know?
not in
that-
the code. We can't put it up there. It's on our website and it's on our reservation things,
Mhm.
but until the council says it's not reservable, we can't, it's still.
No, until the council says it is reservable.
Well, the council
I thought right
has,
now it's not.
well, that wasn't a decision by council, that was a staff decision. It
Okay.
wasn't voted upon in a meeting. It
Oh, I see what
hasn't,
you're saying.
it hasn't been removed from the code. So
Okay.
we have to say that it's reservable as a policy.
Okay.
However, this year, we are saying that it's not reservable due to construction.
Right,
Yeah, so
exactly.
that allows time for council to decide what they want to do with it.
Gotcha.
Because I don't think you want to tackle it right
Okay,
now.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then my other question is, with Villa and Riverside, because you can do it online, do you have to sign something saying, I know I can't have a bounce house, I know I can't, I mean, because I know that last year we had all the problems with people plugging in all kinds of things
We
up
do.
there.
Yeah, and yeah, people, they do sign it, it's very clear, and they still do it. We really don't have a recourse for it unless we want to have a staff person there as a facility attendant the way we do here. We have not gone to that, some cities do.
But if, like, your person who's working on a Saturday does it, and then takes a picture or whatever, do you not give them back their 150?
Well, there is no deposit at the other parks.
Oh, wow.
So the deposit at Stacy was new a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
And now, and it's only for groups of a certain size. Our recommendation now is to always charge a deposit at Stacy. Now, we could do a deposit at the other parks, but again, we're still got the half-day rentals in there. Where we really have the problems, Stacy, of course, is the worst. We get a little bit of more issues at Riverside with bounce houses in particular. We don't really want them there, but if they do it there, it's not really hurting anything. Villa's a problem, there's no place to do it. So, and we typically don't get them coming to Villa because there is no easy way for you to have them there, which is helpful.
What's the issue at Earthside?
Bounce houses, sometimes we'll have them, we'll have like 1 or 2 a year where they'll go in and do it even though we don't allow it.
So they bring the extra extension cord and plug in a lot of different things.
Yeah, now them plugging stuff in and the extension cords isn't a problem. They can use the power of the, that's not a problem. It's them putting
Was
it.
it the grills? There was something that was brought up at the last meeting.
We've had people put bounce houses in. The reason bounce houses are a problem is that the county requires that they be inspected. So if we don't know one's coming, we can't make sure that happens. And people don't like to do it. You have to pay a fee to the county inspector to come and inspect the bounce house. And that's a county law. We can't circumvent it. So a reputable bounce house company will automatically do it and they include it in their fees. But there are a lot of mom and pop organizations that aren't really very well.
So what's the city's liability if they do it?
Well, it's against our policy. They've signed something that says, I understand bounce houses are not allowed. Now, the police department can't really enforce it. So, it's a park rule. It's not a city ordinance. Now, we could codify it. And if we codify it, we can do it, but it would be just like dogs on leash. It's complaint driven. So someone would have to call and make a complaint. And then, do we want our officers coming out and writing a ticket for a bounce house in the park? Is that what all of that wants to do? And I would say probably not.
But the bigger issue is if someone gets hurt.
Well, then the liability is on the provider. And the family has signed it. And I don't know, the legal history of that. I don't know case law on that.
Isn't that a Paul Martin question?
What?
Isn't that a Paul Martin question? Is if we're liable?
Well, I think so I used to have skate parks in California. I had skate parks everywhere I worked. We were not liable no matter how injured people got because we had a sign up that said you skate at your own risk and you have to wear a helmet. So we were, it works. So in our park rules, we say bounce houses are not allowed. They sign something, bounce houses are not allowed. So again, I don't know the case law on this. My experience is as long as we say it's not allowed, it lessens our liability.
Because I think that's the big issue,
What big issue?
that someone can get hurt,
Well,
either in the park or out of the
yeah,
park. I
the
mean, if
bigger
one of those
issue,
things goes
but for
projectile.
1 or 2 bounce houses, I'm not as prepared to radically change the city ordinance. For Stacy Park, for the violations at Stacy Park, it's far more dangerous. We have a lot of, you remember the pictures. It is
I know,
horrible things happen. So Stacy is much more of a liability for us.
I think they all are.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're using a reputable, organization, it's fine, but how do you
Yeah.
ensure that?
Well, anybody that has a bounce house can say it's for rent. I mean, we can't control that.
So one thing that occurs to me is if staff finds a bounce house, turn the electricity off.
We could do that. A lot of them come with generators.
Oh, they do, okay. So,
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I
Now,
hate
some
to say
families,
it,
some
it's kind
families
of a-
bring their own. So
I mean,
some
this is-
families own their own.
well,
bounce
this is kind of like the joke. I mean, it's not a joke, but it is a joke with Indian Meadows. You can tell them that, there's no power, they bring their own power.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's so readily available now.
just another hurdle for them to overcome.
It's
sometimes.
not, it's a little compressor thing,
yeah,
right? So it's like, that's great, but that's not gonna stop.
Right. If a family brings their own bounce
I don't wanna
house,
say what I'm thinking.
I think if a family brings their own bounce house, we have even less worry about liability because they brought their own into the park and they own it.
Right.
So I think we have less
I'm
exposure.
worried about the fly by night.
Well,
Yeah,
we need to worry about them too. Then that's why we keep the post up. It's very difficult to drive in there. So we only get 1 or 2 a year. It's really not the excesses that we see at Stacy.
And there could be down the line some ways that we can combat that by some creative landscaping, benches to just not make it inviting, to put a wide open space that would fit a bounce house too.
And
So
then that would reduce our mowing. So that's the good.
win and win.
Yeah.
so what is the ask?
So
It
we
is
have,
next.
we have that.
Wait, will you back up?
Sure.
I know you said this, but I just needed to hear it again, sure, to process. The special event fee at Stacy is,
So the special event fee is when you want to have a bounce house or a DJ or a petting zoo or any of those
Okay.
other things. You still have to pay the special event permit. And the reason for that is we work with you to map it out where it's going to be. We actually have a diagram, then the renter has it, the park staff has it. So when they come in and set up, because oftentimes with these big events, there are vendors setting it up and the renter isn't there. So it's an easy way for us to say, oh, you gotta move it. So for example, we had a school rental. I don't remember the name of the school, it might have been Whiteout, I can't remember. No, it's a private school. Anyway, they know their band, it wasn't.
Well, that, I was gonna say they come backwards.
So a private school rented and they had a huge catering tent and all these different things come in.
It was Wilson.
It was Wilson School.
Oh, there you go.
And they set up their cooking station right next to our new mosaic, and we were able to say, no, you can't be here, you have to move it. So, so it works, the map works. So again, that vendor came in before the representatives from the school were there. So having that helps. And so the refundable deposit, now we have teeth that, you know what, you said you would have, 200 people, you had 300 people, you had a fry truck, and you broke our whatever, you don't get your deposit back. Yeah.
So now this is, this would be our park staff that would notice that, while they were doing their rounds in the parks too. So there's a way for us to monitor that and actually make sure that we follow up with that. So,
Right.
but it's also a little more of a passive thing. It's not him going out there or whoever that staff member might be out there, in a confrontation with somebody over what rule they're breaking. It's, hey, we broke the rule, you gotta pay the extra.
Yeah. And that's much easier. It allows the park staff to not have to sweat so much for it too.
That's a Monday morning thing as opposed to something that happens on
Correct.
Saturday or
Correct.
Sunday.
And they take pictures of everything, they document it, and we have forms. So like when you rent here, if you want to extend your rental, or if you break something, you sign something immediately, the attendant has you do that. So we'll do the same thing at Stacy.
So the ask is,
Oh, sorry, one more.
oh, okay, I'm
No
sorry.
problem.
That's okay. Will you go back to the previous slide? I know we want to get off that one.
Yes,
So for the cost,
yes.
does this cover our expenses or is that something we're worried about?
With the parks, the city does have a subsidy with the parks. We did a study a couple of years ago about what our operating costs are in the park and what it costs to rent the pavilion. We were covering it.
Okay.
We haven't done it with the renovations. We haven't done it since then. It would probably be a good idea to do it in the next couple of years, to do an assessment of what our costs are. It used to be a straight cost because we contract cleaned on the weekends,
Mhm.
and now we have a full-time staff, so probably well, actually, it's probably less now, because we paid a pretty high contract fee. What's interesting is that we didn't know about the compliance issues when we had contractors. Now that we have full-time city staff out there, now we really know what's going on. Before, we used to see the aftermath, but now we really see what's happening.
Okay, I see you've got a motion.
Yeah, so the motion was a recommendation to approve Stacy
Okay,
Park.
sorry.
we had a sidebar.
Okay.
Does it's back to the other one.
Sure.
So if I wanna have a birthday party and I live for my 8-year-old, or Travis is still there for your 6-year-olds, it would cost me $70 to use Villa or Zai. I don't
For
have
a
to,
full day,
okay,
half day is 30.
but no, I'm saying on a Saturday or Sunday.
No,
No.
no.
It'd be 70.
No. So we're not recommending any changes in fees at any of the
Oh,
parks.
just in
We are only recommending that you cannot rent a half day at Stacy on the weekends. All the other
Gotcha.
fees, these are the current fees.
Okay.
So we're not changing fees, we're just changing the timeline at
Correct.
Stacy.
Yes, all the fees
So the
remain
fees are
exactly the
remaining
same.
And you can
Exactly.
still do half day and full day at,
Herbside and Villa.
okay.
On the
I just
weekends.
understood that.
Yeah.
Now, what,
Our only change that
Is
we're
for
proposing is
Stacy.
for Stacy only. So that's the top, it says Stacy Park recommendation.
Gotcha.
Only for Stacy and only on the weekends. So you can still do half days at Stacy during the week, and we will not charge a deposit during the week. It's only for Saturdays and Sundays.
and do we need to add the fees for Stacy's half days during the week? to-
No, well, it will be, we won't change that on the ordinance. So we line out what we're changing on the ordinance, so we'll probably just add a line. So you see where it says NA here, we'll add that line to the existing fees. Can you go back one? So this is what's currently in the ordinance. So we will, under the Stacy Park, we will add a line with the NA, and then we will remove the large group fee. So we're eliminating the large group fee. And because we didn't want to pile on to this, I was going to keep it. Pat recommended taking it out, and I see the wisdom in it. Because it can start to feel like you're itemizing every use, because now we are requiring the damage deposit on the weekends. So the only change we're asking is to eliminate half days on Saturdays and Sundays at Stacy. All fees stay the same. And we're asking to eliminate the large group fee.
So I'm gonna throw, so going back to the weekend, because I was confused for it. So if I did for like when my daughter turned 4 or something, or 3, I did like use the picnic tables, had like a morning like bagels and something and a cup and a cake. And then we sat under a tree and opened presents, so the kids played on the playground, very simple. But we weren't in the pavilion.
That's
I don't have to
fine.
pay for that.
You don't, you
Okay.
absolutely
So
don't.
you can have a birthday party
You
there.
absolutely can.
I'm talking about like the small
And it happens a
family.
lot.
Okay.
It happens a lot.
So those can happen, it's just
Right.
not renting the
So,
pavilion.
and it's
Yes.
first come, first served, right?
Yeah.
So,
So when we redesigned the parks, remember, we left those conversational picnic table areas.
In clumps,
We
yeah.
left them in clumps specifically, and we didn't anchor them because people move them around to their own uses and they like to keep them in the shade, so they'll follow the shade. Now, this last year at Stacy, we had too many picnic tables there, and they ended up creating a giant group use area on the other side. So we've pulled back the number of tables, but they're still there. Because remember, the park is free to use, you can use whatever you want. The pavilions are free to use. The only reason you pay is that you are guaranteeing that you're the only one that gets to use it during that time. But if you want to use the pavilion before anybody is there and you don't make a mess, it's okay. So sometimes people will go in very early in the morning and sit and have coffee. That's okay. People will have parties at the pavilions on the weekdays. That's okay. And a lot of people know it, they use the park. It's okay. The rentals are for the high demand times. And so we really see that on the weekends. And Stacy is used a lot during the week by the school coming over. Adult daycares pull up, they come and use the pavilion. You see the people after work having beers in there. It's all okay. It's on the weekends, these really group fees, that's where these large group uses is where we really want to bring them in compliance and stop the damage. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Are there other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to approve Stacy Park full day use reservations on Saturday and Sundays and eliminate the large capacity group fee. I just winged that.
Okay. And do we need to say anything about
You need a
submitting this to
second.
council?
You need a
I
second.
need a second.
No.
Need a second. Okay, thank you.
Travis, thanks.
Okay, questions? Or comments or any other questions that people have? Not, I will call it. Vote on it. All in favor of the motion as stated?
Aye.
Say aye.
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so that was 5. 18. Okay, so we will write a report. So the council did not see the report you saw in October, so the report we'll send to them will include the report from October as well as tonight's, and it'll show that you recommended this change to the
And then
ordinance.
you'll come present it and we'll go.
And it'll be presented to the council, right?
Okay. Okay, moving forward, Five Oaks on Warson monthly update. I know we talked last time about it a bit. But if we can, is this Patrick or is this,
This is Patrick and me. So Patrick's gonna do the dashboard and then I'm gonna do the programming. and
Okay.
items of interest.
I'm trying to get that off of there, so.
Yeah.
Give me a
You
moment.
just click it.
I did. And then,
It's not, that's, blue thing's not clicking?
sweet. We're good.
Okay.
That's
Then
all.
you have to, okay. You have to share the dashboard?
This is the membership one, right?
Yeah.
Is that in the packet too?
Can you clarify something on this chart?
Which chart?
Full-time employee household,
Yes.
what does that mean exactly?
So the city council, or not the city council, the city manager, as part of talent retention and recruitment, kind of an employee benefit is that. And full-time employees get, use of the center. and their families.
Okay. So they counted whether they actually use it or not. Are these
We
people that
do-
are actually using it?
Well, those are people that have set up households. It's not their number of visits.
Okay,
We do track everybody that comes in. They have membership numbers, but we don't have that reflected in the report.
so is this, so I guess my question is this the entire staff of the city or there are more people that have it?
There are more people that haven't signed up for it.
Okay,
That's who signed up for it so far. The city hasn't, employees.
how many?
You talk about the.
77,
But
77.
how many employees
We have
do we have?
77.
We have 100, I can't remember how many full-time, I can't remember. It's changed dramatically recently.
Yes, we have 100 between part-time and full-time at the moment.
Yeah, and then part-time, the city used to have like 2 part-time employees and now you can see we already have 23 part-time
Exactly.
households. Because that's us, that's all the employees here.
Exactly, so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
But the use of by the employees is minimal.
Okay,
Yeah, because they still have a gym at the city center. So like the firefighters use the gym at the city center primarily. Yeah, and most of the city employees live so far away that their families aren't coming.
they're signing up, but they're not really using it.
Correct. Right.
So I was just curious with that cross, because
Yeah.
that seemed like a high number considering that I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, you haven't, you don't see them. Yeah,
Yeah.
you really don't see them.
I saw a bunch of them signing up, probably
Yeah.
40, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen them since.
But that's okay. It's still a benefit.
No, it's
There's-
fine.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
still
right.
feeling included.
And I've seen some of them come up and use the playground with their kids, especially the ones that
Yeah.
have younger kids too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I think it just,
I was just curious.
Yeah.
How much that's,
I think
could they
the
kind
family
of
ones-
use the number a little bit?
Well, it's, they don't count towards the revenue.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
so I just like to put that on there to kind of
No.
give you guys an idea of everything, because if I
It
left
just
those
looks
out.
like a really big number compared to these other numbers. Right? And so I was just curious.
Yeah,
If,
well, free stuff usually, people always tend to take you up
so
on.
I didn't know if that was the total.
Yeah, but the
Back to
bigger,
your-
the bigger number is the renew active number.
Yeah, but,
Yeah,
well, exactly.
Yeah.
But, and to your point though, with the new staffing levels,
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
that
know
also,
if this was a number reflecting, if we said, hey, there's 120 employees, they're all members, whether they signed up or not. I didn't know what this number should.
Yeah.
That's
they
what I-
have to come and fill out the paperwork. and
Okay.
form.
So these are, they've actively.
Those are people that
registered.
actively come, yes.
yeah, so basically I just tried to put together the same thing that I had done last time, just so you can see kind of where where things are growing. What I'm gonna do to kind of expand on that as we go along and kind of show you where those ups and downs come from, but we sold 85 different memberships in the last month with an 18% increase. We're still climbing every month, every week. So that is good.
Can you make that full screen?
Yeah. This one.
No, can you put it into presentation mode, so it's like,
Sorry, not good about it.
I don't know how to.
Yep, sorry. You can.
Oh, I see.
It's in the.
Oh, because we're taking this from the city's website, it's not PowerPoint. Yeah, so this is when you go to your agenda and the documents are loaded up, this
It's all
is
the
through the
packets.
agenda, it's the packet. So that's why it's hard to increase the size.
Yeah,
When you take out the employee benefit, there's about 444
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's almost.
And you know, that's still to me, a good number. We're still getting paid memberships in addition to staff memberships. Renew Active is still gaining steam every month, and it is. Word is getting out. We're also doing a little more targeted marketing. Last time, I'll kind of talk about that a little later, what we did for the free memberships and how that's worked out for us. And talk about that a little later. Just kind of like you to know where we are. This, I know Jim and I had talked about this, and that it's kind of one of those things that can be a little cumbersome to read, but if you go from left to right on the top row, it just shows you what our most popular one is, which is to me, the thing that matters the most, which is the resident household outsells everything else. And that means our resident, our families, that's who our number one group of members is. So I think that that's important to highlight that. And number two, is the seniors and Renew Active members. And then, you know, you kind of go down the line here from left to right on the top row, then it goes down and you can see where kind of that lies. So that's why I like to do that. It can be a little hard to read, but it also, I think, you know, highlights the fact that our resident households are the people who are buying memberships. So I think that that is a great thing. And also our 60+ resident household is in the top 5 as well. So all things that, you know, we're very happy with that, you know, that our residents are using our facility and they're buying memberships for a whole house. Not just so.
I like to put this on here to kind of break things down a little more further than look at all the numbers. 53% of our membership sold are going to residents. Non-resident are 9%. I could see that kind of increasing a little bit over last month. The corporate is still one of the things that we're kind of rebranding. We have a lot of people that were all part of a company that are located in Olivet, but they just bought individual passes. So trying to actually grab those and actually include those in here is a little more difficult for us now because they bought a resident membership, and I don't know that they are actually corporate. So I think that's something that'll continue to grow as well, and it may shrink some of the other ones and bring more to that corporate level. And then staff memberships, again, that takes up quite a bit of the pie. And then Renew Active, again, is a large percentage of our memberships, and you know, we continue to get new Renew Active members. And our submittals for United Healthcare for Renew Active for reimbursement has gone up month over month too, because they're not only joining here as Renew Active, but they're coming, and we actually get reimbursed on every scan that they come in here. So every time they come, every time pickleball shows up, which is sometimes 6 days a week for almost every one of them, that we get reimbursed each time they scan, not just their pass. So it's important to note that as well. So some of the promotions, I try to keep everybody up, you know, things we talked about last time. I want to kind of give you an update. We've had 21 households redeem their free visits. So 21 households could be up to 5 people got to come in and use that. I still think that we're going to continue to see those. I think, you know, sometimes people are waiting for a reason to do it or get everybody to come up here, but you know, we're happy that those are starting to come in. Corporate membership promotions marketing is start in February to kind of really reach out to these businesses and see if there's anything we could do. Reach out to their human resources department, find a way to see if they can add this as a, you know, an employee benefit to maybe pick up all or part of the membership here, because it, you know, is quite affordable. Our live fitness classes and personal training have now started. We are still trying to build up steam for those. It's one of those things that, you know, we're getting 1 or 2 people registered, but that's not enough for like a group fitness. We really want to build those up. We're going to be doing some just free for members classes with our instructors so that we can kind of build up some steam and do a little more cross promotion with social media and, you know, the city page as well, but also just really draw people to those classes, because classes are great. They're very popular all over
all over the country and in other gyms. It just, I think we need to get people seeing them and get people to try them out. We are also doing some fitness orientations. Sue, I know it's come in here and seen all the stuff, but some of this stuff has a little bit of a learning curve. And we acknowledge that, and we want to make sure that people who come in here feel at ease and know how to work every piece of equipment. And working with our trainers and some of our staff members to really have certain times when you can come in and take an orientation on all the equipment and find out how to use it, find out when you can use the QR codes, when you can sign up with an app, when you can use your smartwatch. So there's all kinds of great technology in there, but it's lost on people if we don't explain how to do it. Because some of it might be easy for me to understand, but somebody else who maybe is not.
If you've been to going to
advanced
gyms for years, it's
computer set.
easy, but if you aren't,
What's that?
if you've gone to gyms for years, it's not overwhelming. If you haven't been to a gym in many years, it's really intimidating.
It is. And
So there's so many options and choices and.
there is, yeah.
Yeah.
And, the one thing that we want to do is kind of at least eliminate some of that anxiety for people that, that yes, there is new technology and it is great, but there is a learning curve for it for just about everybody that hasn't been to a gym in a while or just, is used to a treadmill that just, doesn't have anything on it. But we've got a good combination of kind of super high tech, and then we also have some that are a little less high tech too. So we've got a good options back there for them if they prefer that. But we've seen all of them get used. And one of the things that we'll probably do in an upcoming meeting as well is kind of give you like an idea of which machines are getting used, because we have to track hours on those to see which machines are getting used and which ones are higher than others. So I think it'll be interesting to see those, to have a chart of all those machines in there and see how much they're being used. So.
And those orientation sessions, how are they publicized?
So we are going to start putting those out. We'll have some signage up here, and we'll be doing some probably some
Direct
mailers
email.
and direct emails and reaching out to our members. But it's also one of those things that we're gonna really work with our staff. We have an in-service with our staff next Sunday, and we'll be going over things like that and how we can better answer questions and better train our staff to accommodate any of those questions and concerns that somebody may have. Because I think there's some people who are really comfortable with it because they lift a lot, and then we may have somebody who maybe only stays on this side of the gym. So we want everybody to feel comfortable enough to answer those, and if they can't, to have that information available to them to help them answer it.
Okay, as far as personal training is concerned, how is that arrangement being set up?
So we're just gonna have some set times that people
No.
come in and do it.
But I mean, personal trainers.
Oh, the personal trainers?
Yeah, I'm changing.
Okay, sorry.
Because you mentioned on here the personal training is now available.
Yeah, it is.
So, we have 3 personal trainers, 2 females and a male at the moment, is looking to expand. They are certified personal trainers. We are setting them up in Perfect Mind and getting their availability, and members or residents or non-residents, as long as they have an account, could actually go in the Perfect Mind and stuff. Right now, we're building that out because it takes a lot, and getting their availability that changes every week, every month, and kind of pushing that out. We want to make sure that it's a little more user friendly than it is currently. So right now, we're kind of doing it old school way, where they fill out an availability, when they're available, and we kind of connect the trainer with the client to get those scheduled. So.
But it's not old school in that you can do it online. You don't have to come here and fill out the form. No?
No, so you can fill out the form online
That's what I thought.
and do that, but the booking, actually,
Oh.
like you were gonna register for a class, that is the thing that's kind of, we had a meeting with Perfect Mind today to kind of just go over that and discuss how we can build that out.
It's a new module we've
Right.
never used before, so we're learning how to build that.
Gotcha.
So it'll be like reserving a golf tee time.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the personal trainer bios are in the recreation guide, and we're gonna do a page. Are they up on the page yet? Or is that happening? I think our marketing team's talking about that on Friday.
Yep,
So there's like right now, there's a yoga page with all the yoga classes in one spot. on the website, so we'll do a personal trainer page and it'll also be there.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked a lot about at the Perfect Mind meeting is about the way that we can kind of expand some of our, make things a little more friendly. We've changed a lot of calendars. Basically, the calendars are how you access what programs we have. We overhauled everything to make it more user friendly, to make it more kind of intuitive. That's kind of why we want to eventually get the personal trainers up there, because you can pick the trainers, you can schedule and do more stuff online. It saves a phone call. It's a, an ease of use thing for our members and, anybody who's in our software. So and it'll also streamline the fact that when they come in, when they scan their card, it'll automatically punch. If you have 5, then it becomes 4 of your private lessons. When they scan in, and all that stuff's automated. So and when that happens, that money, that punch card is immediately taken away. There's no going back and doing it again later, which is what I'm trying to do, is just make things a little more intuitive, not just for people, but also for our staff, so that we're not going and doing that every day and punching those.
And our target is to have that done at the end of next week. So Pat's gonna be gone the next 2 days, so next week we'll be setting all that up because we just had the training on how to do it.
Yeah, and we can still do private, personal training now. It's not on Perfect Mind.
And do we set the fees or do the trainer set the fees?
So what I didn't want to do is have one guy that's $150 an hour, and then that's an exaggeration. That's not the actual fee. And then to have somebody at $40 an hour.
Right.
They're both certified trainers. So I talked to all 3 of our personal trainers, and based on their experience, they all have multiple years of experience, multiple certifications. One of them's a dietitian. The amount of experience they had, and we set the fee kind of together for those 3. If somebody did come in and has more, they could, they do set that, because they get 70% of the revenue from a personal training goes to them and 30% goes to us. So it was
So you're telling the contractors to set what fee that they have to charge?
so they are,
It's a negotiation.
yeah,
But we talked about this last
So
time,
it is-
about the different prices.
it was 65.
We did, it's 65 an hour.
I don't think we agreed last time on a price, did we? A rate? We talked about.
The
what?
commission fee.
No,
We don't set the.
Yeah.
But did we talk about how we,
What we talked about is that not to be worried about it being expensive. That's what we heard from you. But the trainers themselves don't want to price themselves over what the other one's doing. When Pat sets the fees with them, it's a conversation. They know what everybody else is charging, because if you are a personal trainer and there's 2 other personal trainers charging less, they brought theirs down because they're afraid they wouldn't get business. So
But they're independent so those fees are set independently
No,
of.
we're not paying them directly, we're paying by votes. If I hire them, I'm paying by vote.
correct, you pay us.
Yeah, so we basically take our 30% out and then pay them as an independent contractor.
Right, so it's a 2-way conversation with the trainers and with Patrick, and they come to an agreement, and no trainer wanted to be 30 or
Way up.
40 or $50 more than the other. So they leveled out themselves through the discussion.
Yeah, and it's a pretty consistent, it's still more affordable than some other facilities in the area. We also have the ability to do different package sizes, different, do 2-on-1 group training. So we worked all that out with the trainers to have a multitude of options, and the ability to do all those is kind of.
And wasn't it also, I think I wrote, that the more you get, the cheaper it gets?
Yes, so there is a discount, if you get, as you go up, like if you got 10, you're not
Say I
paying
bought 10
the
sessions
same, yeah, correct.
or 5 sessions, it's gonna
Yep.
be cheaper than if I just did one.
There's an incentive for them to do it.
And I would find that online where,
They're posted up there, and so.
and then Perfect Mind.
Yep,
Okay, and how do we handle liability? Are we liable?
They have a certificate of
Of
insurance
insurance,
and they
They
are,
name us as additional insured.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Is
And
it on
they-
our Pine Oaks website? Not yet.
Is it on Five Oaks or is it in, it might be in Perfect Mind.
yeah, it's in
Yeah.
perfect mind, but
Oh, okay.
we had to finalize some things with that and we will definitely have that posted.
So right now in the activity guide, it says if you want to book a personal trainer to email Patrick and it gives you a hot link to email him.
The tough part was that we didn't want to put that, you know, I would ideally love to have this perfect line part done because it takes a little bit of me out of the equation. But right now, the handful, I think I've had 4 people that have reached out about doing like group training and personal training. And I have sent them all the forms that we have put together and the rates and talked to the trainers already about that as well, so. Any other questions
So
about that?
remember, it's brand new to us. It's a work in progress and we'll keep refining it and revising it. Our software is amazing, but we've underutilized it for years, so we're learning it. We're learning it as we go. What's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a work in process, I think is really what, I mean, that was kind of what I was saying.
And then the other thing too is that as with anything, we're starting out with this base rate. If we're finding that they're selling out, then the rates will go up,
Mhm.
absolutely. And they are independent contractors. It's a year contract next year, renegotiate. If they're really busy, they'll increase. If they're not busy, they may lower their prices or do special incentives, or they may decide not to train with us. So it is, it's a constant evolution.
And, some people think that, that cost is really cheap. They also have, they're not signing like a non-compete with us. They have other training clients elsewhere too. But they also have a home base to be able to market and get into other groups is also, inviting to them as well. So I think that the 3 trainers that we are working with have, 2 of them are Olivet residents. And, there's some value in that too, to be in the community and also be training people from the community as well.
And the other thing to think about too is they came to us. We didn't
That's
recruit them. They wanted to be here. So I think they're working with Patrick and I'm confident that I don't want anybody to think that we're undervaluing their services. We're not.
Yeah, and they also, Teresa, one of our trainers, she comes in and uses a facility and tags the facility every time she's in
Yes,
here.
we worked out today and posted videos of herself to
So
her.
I mean, it is, we're starting this stuff all from scratch.
Sure.
And it's not, I wouldn't say it's our polished finished product by any means, but I think that we've got to start somewhere and we're very, small staff that is light on the feet, trying to do as much as we can to make everything the best, but, having a sports and fitness supervisor, when, sports has got their own thing going on, so I'm trying to help them out with fitness as much as I can.
Okay.
I'm able to, so.
Okay.
I wanted to kind of highlight a little bit of rentals at Five Oaks. So we've had 38 multi-purpose room rentals, and those are, 38, some of them are for multiple hours, some are for a few hours. But I kind of want to show like where we are, that we're not just utilizing the memberships in the gym and the playground. We're getting a lot of rentals in our rooms as well. Some of them, over 150 people in here for rentals. We've had 6 playground rentals. That's when we shut it down to the public and you actually have somebody who can go in there and rent it, do a birthday party. They typically will have a meeting room as well as the playground, and a private kitchen rental and a private gym rental. These are all things that are kind of growing and we're working through those. We've generated over $20,000 in revenue in 2 months, and that, includes busy holiday seasons, when we were able to bring in, some additional revenue here, and those brought in over 2,000 people, like about 2,400 people into our facility just for rentals, and those, could be people who never would have said it, put in here other than coming to.
Do we have any projected numbers?
We have some, budget,
Targets
that we had,
Yeah.
and with those were set with us being open for 6 months. And, you know, so some of those we're trying to find out where we are in those because since we were delayed in opening so much
Right.
that our target is.
Yeah, our targets were for a full year of operation and we're only gonna have 6 months during the year. So we are,
Hoping for half it.
we're hoping to meet our 50% goal.
What was,
So
what was
do
the
you know
number?
what the goal was?
What's the number?
Do you know offhand?
To broken down by all the divisions, I don't. We were hoping to make $1 million.
$1 million between memberships and rentals and all that, okay.
That's I think that's
That-
our 50%.
That's what Darren,
Revenue number where we are with memberships right now?
I could pull it, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I try not to look at it every single day because it gives me too much anxiety. But we look at it on a monthly basis, but we are not at $1 million yet. So I
But
think
it
our,
looks like it's relatively healthy, but
it's healthy. It's doing, the rentals are doing well. We are probably about 50% of where we want to be with, some of the individual memberships. We really need to push that up. Family memberships, we're tracking kind of, if we keep the momentum we have, we should be okay. But, you know, it's hard, but on the flip side, we've generated a lot more revenue than we have over the past 5 years. So, I mean, that part's
Oh,
nice.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
nice. So, but
I was
where our
just curious
targets are-
where target was.
So I'm about to, starting February 1, we're gonna have our revenue targets on the wall of the conference room. I'm trying not to do that to the employees yet, but it's coming.
So, on the rentals here, how far out have you rented? Like, are people?
Oh, God, I think we rented almost a year out.
Yeah, we know, like, our first rental that we took was for November 2024.
Wow,
So,
that's exciting.
yeah, so we do about a year in advance. Now, if someone wanted 2 years out, we have the capacity to do it, we could do it. But I don't think we've done it yet. But yeah, the
And in a
definitely,
way, I kind of hope we don't, just because I know our costs are going to, you
yeah,
know, our
because
rental costs are
eventually we probably
gonna
want
go-
to increase our fees a little.
Yeah, because I would really hate for somebody to do it a couple years in advance and really lock in a, you know, a good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
When we anticipated probably likely going up.
Right.
Years too.
For now, we're just keeping the year and.
Yep.
okay.
Okay, so very quickly, we've talked a lot about this, so programming update, I have hard copies of the activity guide for everybody. And then Jim came to our gallery opening, it was wonderful, our next gallery opening is coming up in March, so that's that postcard for that. We have a lot of new instructors in here, we're continuing to add classes, since this guide was produced, we have already new classes that aren't in here. We're doing a walk fit program that's actually free to members where you walk the gym, you do a circuit in the gym, and then there's workout stations set up for you, so that's starting, is that next week?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that starts next week, so, but the Les Mills classes are amazing, and we have a Les Mills instructor that Pat was talking about that. We have dance, we have art, we are light on teen programming, we're light on children's dance, so those are some areas we're really trying to find instructors. We are starting to get more artists contact us for the art gallery. So we've reached out to Logo School to be the next school that comes in. I don't have a date for them yet, but they're very excited. And just like Miriam School, they were thrilled to be asked. So that's really nice that we're able to do that for those communities that are communities within our community. If there are classes that you want, or if there's teachers you know, please send them to us. We'd love to have them.
Yes, I will say that, you know, each brochure, I think we're gonna keep picking up steam, you know, I think that we did everything that we could with this
Beautiful.
winter brochure. And Beverly, you know, do want to give credit to her that on top of directing our entire department, also spent the painstaking time to put this together and make sure that it looked nice and that it read well, and I think she did a fantastic job, so I want to commend her on that. I think that is not an easy thing to do on top of her already daily duties, so I know that I couldn't have done that for sure, so that is a amazing job.
we have all new staff and none of them have produced an activity guide before. So, I'm gonna do the next couple, but I'm hoping to delegate that very soon. So that the staff are doing it. This guide was electronic only. We emailed it out to our database, which is about 7,000 people. And then we did post it on social media and we'll continue to highlight some of the classes in it. Our next guide, our plan was to have spring, summer printed and mailed to all the residents. What we're finding is we're adding classes so quickly and our instructors are new. So our instructors are new, so they're not used to thinking so fast to offer their classes for the quarter. So it may be too aggressive for me to be able to do a spring, summer combined guide. So summer camp registration opens the 26th. We typically do a mini camp guide that is only email as well. So we'll continue to do that. Do look at it online because we did electronic publishing. So it does flip like a book now and you can click straight through. Eventually, we'd love to be able to do that. We can also track our hits. It works really well. But we do have a lot of residents that haven't been here yet, so I think there's still a lot of value to us doing a direct mail. So what we may do is a spring mini guide and mail that directly. And then look at maybe a summer fall guide or something like that. So we're still working that out. And then whatever changes happen with pavilion rentals, we'll have to push that information out as well. The city has a newsletter coming out in the beginning of March. And our original plan was to have the next guide, 2 homes, February 26th for the spring, summer combined quarter, but we really need to figure out, is that achievable or is that too aggressive of a goal?
One thing I would say about these openings, I think we're doing one a month.
Roughly.
So typically speaking, it's first Fridays of the
Yes.
month.
Yeah, this next one, the opening is actually on a Saturday, unfortunately, because both artists work, one's a professor and one's an art teacher, and they just could not do a Friday. So we are doing a Saturday. And then one of the instructors, actually Abby, teaches at Clayton Middle School, and she wrote a book about, with some other artists about art in applying art or using art to teach equity, diversion, and inclusion. And she's doing a family workshop that coincides with their exhibits. So that's pretty exciting as well. So we're hoping for some good class for that. Her max for that class is pretty low.
Where's that?
That's under the family. So it's right there. Go back 1 page. It's right next to Lisa's mosaic class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on Five Oaks? I think this is an evolving process and we will
It certainly is.
all learn as we go.
We learn something new every day.
Because when I saw the 20K, I was thinking about when we were up the hill.
That would've died.
That would have been a pipe dream.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
So anyway, so moving along, we have the 2024 schedule. I have noticed that staff has gone through and looked at a lot of the dates related to.
I don't want to make you crazy, but September date is still wrong. It is,
It's not the 18th?
the 18th is a,
The 18th is a
is
Wednesday.
a Thursday.
No, the 18th is a Wednesday. There's the calendar.
Everybody pulls out their phones.
Huh?
As everybody pulls out their phones. September 18th
September 18th?
is a Wednesday.
Yes.
I don't know what I was looking at then. I went to put it in my calendar during the meeting and, okay, ignore me.
Now, the ones that have superscripts beside them have
Yes.
been changed off of the third Wednesday.
No, they aren't. Those are ones I'm suggesting
No,
to
yeah,
change.
that you're
Yes,
suggesting
Yes,
that
those
they
are,
not.
those are still Wednesday dates. Those are the ones that I am recommending to be changed. But I didn't want to put a hard recommendation on until the group discussed it because of conflicts with other high holy days.
Are there, as we look through these, the one in March has been changed because of the Ladue School District. The June meeting is Juneteenth, and so we would move to the following.
Yes, so in June, we can't meet on the twelfth, because that is a high holy day as well. So if we went.
Or just a holiday.
Oh, is that, so, oh, just I thought it was,
The high holidays are in the fall.
or in the fall, okay, I apologize, but it's
Yeah.
a holiday where people are asked not to work, yes. So that,
Well, some people.
So,
I was told to include it, so I included it. Okay.
so with these modifications, do people see any problems with the dates? So I think, now, do we have to adopt the schedule
You
or,
adopt the schedule, yes.
okay, so is it, so we do it,
So I just want to make sure that the alternate dates suggested here work for everybody.
well, there's things that come up, but nonetheless, I think that's the best that we can do at this point. So do you have any other, Sue, Bill, Stacy, any problems with the dates? If, so let's see what the motion would be to accept the recommended dates as modified
Yeah, motion to approve the 2024 calendar with the date modification.
with the date modifications. So I will ask for a motion.
I will make the motion to accept the 2024 Parks and Rec Commission calendar with the documented modifications of dates.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
On,
Travis, thank you, Travis.
I think
Oh, it was Sue.
it was Sue.
Oh.
Sue, yes.
Oh, you know what? I actually wrote the motion on the agenda. I forgot that.
Did I say it wrong?
Nope, we're all good.
Okay, next thing, our annual work plan, I think those are things that we're going through. I think if you look at in the agenda that was online, you see the work plan going through. We've completed a lot of that. The one thing that I would encourage commissioners to do is, this isn't a great time of year to do intercepts in the park. But I have found it to be really great just walking around, talking to people. And if you hear something, or if you have a problem, if somebody brings up an issue to you, knowing that you're on Parks Commission, or you just see something in the park, contact staff so we can resolve it. I mean, that's the important thing. We just don't want to let the stuff fester. And then we'll try to, as we move through the year, to come up with a more formalized approach to intercepts in the park so that we can see what's going on. One of the things on the schedule tonight, on the agenda tonight, was the youth sports annual report. We were not able to do that because of the people had other.
Are you guys upset? We could have stayed longer, right?
Yeah, had other commitments. So we'll look through this and then.
Okay, I've got a question. Sure. So on the field study, field rental fee study. This is one of the ones I thought we were gonna try to present something, the working group next month. Do we know when we're gonna have our?
I've got our comparisons, I would say about 70 to 80% done.
Okay.
For fields, and, there's also some other ones that I want to include in there as well.
So are we still shooting to meet or for the work group to present?
Yeah,
Next month?
I'm gonna reach out to you guys
Okay.
and, to try to get a time when we can talk and we can do it, virtually if we have to.
Okay.
To do that, but, just to kind of present that and let you guys kind of see what I've compiled too, so.
Okay, that's fine. I knew that was our
Yeah,
timeline. I want to make sure that
Yeah,
didn't change.
for sure. No,
Don't worry
you're
about
right.
it. Don't worry about it. No, don't worry.
You call me?
No.
Okay, and then one other thing, the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association, we all have memberships in that at this
You do,
point.
you
Okay,
do. And are you all getting the emails?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
Great.
okay.
The conference is coming up in March. It's in St. Charles this year, so I encourage you all, if there's a day you could break away and go.
Do you have information on that, or can we?
You've probably been getting a lot of emails about it, so, but I'll forward it to you.
If you could forward it
Yeah.
to the commission so we can.
Yeah, there are cheaper options. You can do just the vendor fare to, if you don't want to go to the whole conference. You could do one day.
Yeah, if you
So-
can go, the early bird registration does end on Friday, and then it just does get a
So,
little
now-
more expensive.
Does city cover
It does
registration?
not, it
Okay,
does not, yeah.
okay,
We are hoping to send a couple staff this year, but with the new facility, we really got to figure out how to do it because someone has to be here. We still have managers on duty.
okay.
We still have full-time staff here until we close. So we have to kind of balance that. We also have a much bigger staff than we've ever had, so it'll be a little harder. We used to be able to just close the community center and it didn't really impact it, or we could have a facility attendant stay there so the classes could go on. But these days we can't do that. So we're still trying to weigh that, but we definitely want to get the parks through there. We are sponsoring a session. So Angelica Gutierrez from GRG, myself and Katie Upholt from Navigate, we're doing a presentation on cross-community or cross-agency partnership in building. So we're going
Okay.
to talk about this building in the Greenway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions that people have? If not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we'll hear a second.
Second.
All in favor, stand up and say goodbye.
Bye.
Motion carried.
Thanks, you guys.
Okay, thanks.
Travis, I hope your kids are feeling better soon.
Yeah, thank you. I think everybody in the house has got some version of it, so I thought it was best to stay away. Yeah,
No, no.
that's all
All right,
right.
good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.